Hi there. Welcome to another video for the Edum cartridge for the Commodore 128. Really excited today to talk about what's actually the first new feature for Edum to be released since its official release last month. And this is to do with playing SID tunes. And I think you're really going to like it. It allows you to remotely play and stream SID tunes from your Windows PC to your Edum cartridge. And the playback can happen either through emulation with your Commodore turned off or through the actual SID chip in your C128 when your Commodore is on and booted up. So to get started with this, I recommend the first thing you do is go to the page for the high voltage SID collection, which is hvsc.c64.org. And here you can download the complete HVSC collection if you don't already have it. And as you can see, it's up to over 56,000 SID tunes. So it is quite the collection, quite the effort, spanning many, many years. And very, very cool. So you should download this. You should install it on your Windows PC. You don't need to put it on your Raspberry Pi and your Edum cartridge because you're going to stream the music from your Windows PC over the network to Edum. The next thing you want to do is grab the SID Player client that works with this new feature, and that's the ACID64 Player. So it's linked from the HVSC SID Players page, or you can just go to acid64.com. There's all kinds of news and description and screenshots. Here's what the program looks like, but I'll be demonstrating it in a moment here. Go to download, and you want to grab the latest version of this for Windows, extract it, take a quick look at the README file because there is a 32-bit Visual Studio redistributable that you'll need to install if you don't already have that on your Windows PC. And then you will install this application and you'll be ready to go. So the next thing you're going to want to do is launch the ACID64 program and go to the preferences. You can get there with this icon in the lower left or by pressing F12. And this is where you configure it to know what device it's going to talk to across the network. In this case, your Edum cartridge. So you can see here there's a SID device IP. And indeed, this is the IP address of the Edum cartridge. I'll show you that real quickly in the Linux prompt. So you can see the IP address shown there in Linux, .185. Matches the IP address we've entered here in our preferences. And another thing you want to do is select a sampling method. Best is the default, but you really want to select fast. Raspberry Pi will perform much better with the fast setting. Once you've done that, what you will notice is that there's a list of devices in a drop-down menu here. And you'll see there's two resid devices, one for the 6581, one for the 8580. And then there's real SID 6581. So we'll start by using emulation to see what playback sounds like in that mode. If I go to the search icon, what's really great about this client is everything is indexed. So when you point it to your, I should show you that. Another thing in your preferences is you'll want to point the HVSC location to wherever you've installed the HVSC collection on your PC. So you can see on mine it's in download C64 music. So another thing you want to do is set that. There's various other settings here that you can play around with, but none of them are too important for this demonstration. Just be advised it's a very configurable, very neat client. And the thing I really like best about it is you can index your HVSC collection, and then you can do something like type the name of a composer. I'll use Ian Ford, better known as Hoffman, and you'll see that the songs composed by Ian Ford immediately appear in the menu. And then if you want to play one of those songs, and again I'm selected to resid device 6581. I like low groove, so we'll click on that one and we'll select play. And you hear the music coming from the speaker behind me, which is connected to the idun-cartridge, and this is in turn connected to the headphone jack on the Raspberry Pi. So this is emulated sound playing from the Raspberry Pi. And we have nifty controls to pause it, to restart it, to see what it would sound like on an 8580. Significantly different. Let's go back to 6581 because that sounds better to me. And of course you can press stop to stop this song. And let's take a look at something that can be done with the emulation mode that can't be done with the real SID. Namely, stereo SID playback. So if I go back to the search bar and I just type the word stereo, it'll quickly find some tunes that require two SIDs to play in stereo. So this hyperdrive one is a pretty neat sounding two SID tune. And here you hear it playing back through the resid emulation for the 8580. And I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit so we can hear it better. So yeah, that's pretty nifty. But what's really neat, and what I haven't demonstrated yet, is what happens when you select real SID 6581. And we'll go back to the Ian Ford collection here, back to that low groove song. So at this point I've swapped my speaker connection, and now it's connected to the output of the Commodore 128. So this is the actual SID. And if we play, so now what's happening here is we're streaming across the network the SID tune from our PC to the Edum cartridge, which is feeding it directly into the Commodore 128 and playing the SID tune. But what's even more interesting is this is all done while the Commodore 128 continues to run the Edum shell. So let me show that real quick. So now I've just used the Edum shell to enter a Linux prompt, and I've started the top program. Just shows the Linux process is running. And now let's restart the music. And we'll switch to some other songs. You should lock this to real SID. if you want to continue to hear it on the real SID. Here's some classic Rob Hubbard tunes. And so as you can see, as all that music was playing, the Edum cartridge continued to be available. It's basically multitasking with streaming SID music. So I hope you enjoyed the demo. Again, the only thing you really need is the latest version of the idun-cartridge software, which you can download or which is included on the SD card if you order an SD card with your cartridge kit. And you need some SID tunes, preferably, or the easiest, or the best, or most complete, the high voltage SID collection, and the ACID64 Player, which is actually not the only player that works with this SID device protocol. And if you want to learn more about that, just take a look at the ACID64 page. There's a console-based player, there's a Java-based player that's multi-platform. So there's other ways to do this, but the ACID64 Player is definitely a nice experience on Windows PC. So I hope you enjoyed the demo, and take care.